It's winter break. You have 1 month to create and shoot a cosplay literally only 4 people know of, and above all, you've made the last minute decision to record the creation process for the memories. With little time to spare, you somehow managed to meet your deadline with fantastic footage to show for it. You couldn't be happier with the result, and now all that's left to do is edit everything down and put it on the internet. Is what I said 2 years ago. That fantastic footage, over 2 hours long when put together, aka the most amount of footage I've ever had to edit ever. The iPad mini that I used to use to edit all my videos, dead. The footage killed my iPad. But you know what? 1 iPad, 2 systems, 5 reshoots, and countless hours spent watching how to DaVinci Resolve videos later. It's done. Enjoy. All right, let's do this. D&D has corrupted every single, I don't even know what I'm doing with my hands. It has taken over my brain and my life. I have written, edited, and rewritten the script, I think 7 times now. Hold on. No, 5 times now. This is draft 6. I don't even remember what draft this is. It has been a roller coaster. I easily get sidetracked, and I am very passionate about this campaign, and I want to tell you everything there is to know about like the plot and the characters and everything, but I can't do that unless I want to make a 2 to 7 hour video, which I cannot mentally handle editing or uploading. Okay, I edit through an iPad. My iPad mini cannot handle a 2 to 7 video. Anyways, I've tried my very best to condense everything you need to know to understand Nova Malstromeria and their adventures through Astrea. But first things first, let's talk about what I'm going to be making in this video. Calida Ebony is my Circle of Wildfire druid half-elf. She is relentless, sarcastic, pretty arrogant, with enough anger issues to go around the table. I actually already cosplayed her back in 2022. She was the first cosplay I'd ever fully designed, and it was even featured in a cosplay magazine. This isn't me, however. I know you can't see it, so I'll be putting a photo of it somewhere on the screen. It's a really dark photo anyways, but I was in a cosplay magazine. Calida Ebony was in a cosplay magazine. That's really cool. It means a lot to me. It was through this experience that I learned I really enjoy designing costumes, therefore this design was born. In the grand scheme of the campaign, we had just reached level 10, which if you're not familiar is a pretty big achievement in D&D, so I took this as the perfect opportunity to give her an outfit change. I knew while I was designing this that it would actually turn into a cosplay, but it wasn't until 6 months later that I would make any sort of progress. I used Simplicity's pattern R11595 for her coat, but because I'm dumb, I didn't realize I had grabbed the wrong size. I needed sizes 6 through 12, but I had grabbed sizes 14 through 22, which meant that I needed to resize this to my measurements. I didn't film much of my mock-up process just due to the fact that this took forever, or just so much longer than I expected to. It started out fine. I was able to resize the bodice exactly to my measurements, but when it got time to the sleeves, actually, you know what? I think the footage can explain itself. Specifically right here, it looks really weird. It's like bunching up right here, and I don't know if that's like the weight of this fabric specifically, and that wouldn't happen with the actual fabric, or if like this is an actual error that I need to like fix. I hate sleeves. I know everybody hates sleeves, but like I hate sleeves. I don't know what's happening. Ugh. This was the sleeve hole before. The sleeve drops off the shoulder, right? I didn't want that. I wanted it right on the shoulder. So I tried to fix it. It's not fixing. As you can see, no, you can't see. You can't even, ugh. That sleeve. I did six attempts of altering the sleeve pattern that I was given, and none of them worked. I just gave up and tried to make my own pattern, which also did not work. I hate sleeves, but my own pattern was the best option I had, so I just took it and ran. So I called it good, ate some cake in celebration for my somewhat decent job, and then moved on to cutting out the pattern pieces. The campaign takes place in a continent called Australia, which is composed of 3 main countries, Otterlin, Dornell, and Finharrow. And the 3 worked in harmony with each other until the Otterlin nation attacked. War broke out between the countries, and after about 90 years of fighting, Otterlin and Dornell created a compromise. The countries came to an agreement to create something called... Where am I putting you? You're going down here. The Insomnia Alliance, a program which would hopefully take down their common enemy, Finharrow. Both sides would gather about 60 children with the greatest potential to create an army of child soldiers. Here. It was between this or them spelling out victim, so. Both technically work, however, I guess I just like to help more. I don't know. But why am I telling you this? Because the PCs of this campaign, including my character, Calida Ebony, and her twin sister, Keone Ebony, were all selected to be a part of this program. And all of them would spend the next 10 years training in order to bring this war to an end. After those 10 years were completed, both sides would combine forces, and it's here that the team was formed. Let's meet the idiots. Calida Ebony and Indrid Elios, who was a Way of Mercy monk who later multiclassed into cleric because we desperately needed healing, would represent the side of Otterlin, while Paranal Thor and Cassius Thorn would represent the side of Dornell. Paranal Thor was the team's fighter who later multiclassed into Artificer, which made her even more horrifying than she already is. I think Artificers in general are just crazy, but you know, I think Paran is a special type of crazy. And then Cassius Thorn was the team's warlock who actually later also multiclassed into cleric because, again, we needed healing. We actually later learned about halfway through the campaign that Cassius Thorn was a false name, and his real name, get this, you'll never guess what it is. Cassian Prick. I'll never forget that. But at least he was true to his name, so... because he was a massive... Paran later changed her name to Petra, and then we learned that Indrid Elios is also known as Nex. And then finally, Calida Ebony's real name was... Calida Ebony. No one gave me the memo. The team started out rough. There was a lot of infighting, but eventually over time, thanks to, I guess, just trauma bonding, they eventually worked together and formed what they would eventually call Novum Alstromeria. Go right in there. Yes, we have a symbol. We very vaguely translated this into new beginnings / friendships to symbolize the team finally coming together and getting along, and also to symbolize their plan to dismantle the Insomnia Alliance because of everything that they've done to them as children. Oh, and let's not forget about how they planned on dismantling not 1, but 2 monarchies, try to find a cure for something called the Rot, figure out what the gods were doing because something's up with them, all above trying to stop the world from total, complete just destruction, basically. So, yeah, pretty simple plans. Novum Alstromeria went on some pretty ridiculous adventures over the next year or so in-game, but also in real life. This game spanned about 3 years. A few of those crazy adventures include forming a human jetpack amongst themselves, which I sadly do not have an image of. They got kidnapped by a cult multiple times, same cult, multiple times, which is kind of funny. Out of all the crimes that they committed, they didn't kidnap anybody. They were just the kidnapped. Anyway, they went through a few time-altering caves. They entered and won the Insomnia Alliance tournament, crashed a royal ball, and looked stunning while doing it, and so many other quests, which I could literally talk about for hours. Literal hours. Once the collar was ready to be attached to the rest of the coat, I began to worry that without the embroidery around like the skirt and the hood, that it would look plain. I was worried the coat would look plain.
Okay, you're probably a little confused right now. Remember at the start of this video where I mentioned the unaliving of my old iPad? Well, with its departure, it took some of my footage with it, and this is just one of those moments that got lost in the void, so let me add some context. I had scripted a part of this video to talk more about how I got into embroidery, making fun little designs for all the D&D characters, and how this newfound hobby majorly influenced my Calida redesign. If we look back at my reference sheet real quick, you'll see that I had plans to embroider not just the collar of the bodice, but the hood edge and the circumference of the skirt by hand. Which, looking back on that, what was I even thinking with that? I was on a time crunch, so I later backpedaled a little to erase my hood and skirt designs. Now that should bring you up to date. Back to past me.
So after scavenging around my crafting stash, I found around 3 yards of green trim, and coincidentally, this is actually the same pattern or design trim that I used on my original Calida cosplay. So I thought this was like a really cool, just like full circle moment. Or at least it would be a full circle moment once I dyed it. I dyed it black because the green just didn't match the rest of the green and it threw off the entire costume. So I dyed it all black, dried it very professionally, and attached it to the skirt and the hood. Also around this time, I sacrificed one of my many Hero cosplays to be the lining of the coat.
Everyone, say goodbye to the Hero dress that no one cares about besides me. It is being used for a different costume.
And then connected all the pieces together. With the coat mostly together, the last thing that I needed to do was to make all the little enclosures in the front of her coat. I think these took 3 attempts because I wasn't happy with the look, and the sizing of the first 2 was really wonky. But I eventually found something that I was happy with and hand stitched them all onto the coat. And just like that, the coat was finished. So all that there was left to do was put everything on, drive to an undisclosed location, and film the final reveal. I genuinely believe that not a lot of people are going to get to the end of this video just due to how niche the subject matter is and also how long I know this video is going to be. So if you're watching this and you've made it to the end of the video, truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I struggle a lot with expressing gratitude and also putting my thoughts and feelings in a way that others can understand and gets my point across. So I really, really hope that over the course of this video, I have successfully explained my love for D&D to you guys. If you're going to take even just one thing away from this video, I want it to be this. This campaign, the characters, the costume, the setting, everything changed my life. And I know how stupid that sounds and how cheesy it sounds, but just give me one more moment of your time and let me explain. I think the reason why this campaign means so much to me is not just because I fell in love with the story, but also because I got to see how it ended. Any other campaign that I participated in before this one fizzled out way before I could ever see how it ended. But with Calida Ebony, I got to see where she started, where her story went, and how it ended. I got to see Calida Ebony get her happy ending, and like many other D&D players, their characters are an extension of them, and I am no different with Calida, so seeing her get her happy ending means a lot to me. It also sparked a surge of creativity that I have not felt in a very long time. I started to embroider again. My love for cosplay slowly but surely came back. But above all, I started to draw again, which is something that I have not done since I was in middle school. And just for comparison, I'm 20 now. I was newly 17 when we started this campaign, and over the course of getting to play as Calida Ebony and everything. I graduated from high school. I went to college. I'm still going to college right now. And I have lost friends, made new ones, and so much more. This campaign not only watched me grow into a different person, but it also gave me a chance to quite literally meet some of the most talented people that I know. Who of which I know they're watching this. So, to Elliot, Kaz, Finn, thank you for letting me play alongside you all, and also dealing with me when I'm just being me. There's no one else I would rather be playing D&D with. And to Basil, you are an insanely talented, emphasis on the insane, DM. Thank you for letting me be a part of your story and getting to play in your world, and also info dumping to you constantly about my headcanons and my theories about your campaign and your characters. The four of you mean a lot to me, and I mean that sincerely. And finally, to you, a viewer, if you are on the fence about getting into D&D, please take this as a sign to do it. You have no idea what adventures lie ahead of you. Nothing is for everyone, and if it doesn't work out, then nothing stops you from leaving. But what if it does work out? What if you find you really enjoy D&D? Don't knock it until you try it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All in all, this is a very drawn out way of saying that I love the way that Calida's jacket turned out. It is everything that I wanted it to be. And it makes me so happy that I got to share everything about this little campaign that has my heart. And I got to explain it all in the way that I know best, which is by making something. So, there it is. My love letter and final goodbye to Calida Ebony and to Nova Maelstrom. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye. Let's talk about campaign 2.